So good morning, everyone. We are now in the week 3, which is operational guidelines. So at the end of the session, the students will be able to understand the operation guidelines of real estate, identify and understand the 5 fundamental factors that affect the market and how they impact your buying and selling power. And number 3, understand and determine the negotiating and purchasing power. So this is the on how to understand the fundamentals of real estate. So understanding the real estate makes you more empowered buyer or a seller. So this primer explains the 5 fundamental factors that affect the market and how they impact your buying and selling power. So they include the supply and demand, median home prices, new construction, the mortgage rates, economy. So with this, you have to know the fundamentals of the market that affects the market, and also understand how the seller and the buyer has the impact in the market, and how to negotiate and purchase and know the purchasing power. So first is the supply and demand that creates buyers and sellers market. So we have a neighborhood may contain many homes, but only a small portion is normally for sale at one time. So the supply of for sale home relative to the demand to buy them determines whether the market favors buyers or sellers. So when a lot of homes are for sale but not many people want to buy them, it's a good time to be a buyer. So this is known as a buyer market. So we have to look for the lot for sale in our area. And then if you think that this area is good, and then purchase those lots and look for a potential buyer. So conversely, when not many homes are for sale, but a lot of people want to buy them, it's a good time to be a seller. So this is known as a seller market. So the difference between the seller and the market is that the seller and the buyer is that the buyer wants to have a people wants to have this lot for sale, while the buyer is that people want to buy them. So kung ikaw yung seller, so you have to look for a potential buyer to buy a lot. So at these situations that we are in the pandemic situations, it's hard to look for a potential buyer kasi lahat tayo affected with regards sa ano natin, trabaho. So some of our buyer cannot afford to buy a real estate. So buying in buyer's market means you have a lot of power. So you may get a lower price and closing date that works well for you. So the seller might pay some of your closing cost or wait to close until you sell your current home. So the advantage for a buyer's market is that you have a power. So you have a power uh, tawag doon, to sell a lot, okay, for the seller. No, for the you have the power to get a lower price and then a closing date. So buying in a seller market can be difficult. So the seller may receive a multiple offers if a home is highly desirable. So we have a bidding war to drive up the price. So you may have to agree whatever terms the seller wants, even if they are costly or inconvenient for you. So selling in a seller's market means you have a lot of power. You might get several offers for more than your asking price. So you're often to be able to dictate the terms you prefer. You may have to fix up your home to sell. Okay, selling in a buyer's market can be challenging. So you might not get the price you want or the price your neighbor got a few months ago for a home that is similar to you. So let's take a look with the table, a comparison for a supply and the demand. So we have supply of for sale home, the demand to purchase a home, and the type of market. So if there is high supplies of for sale home, so the demand to purchase a home is low. So this type of market is a buyer. While if the supply of for sale homes is low, there is a demand to purchase a home which is high. So this is the type of market is the seller. So as you can see, the empowerment, the power of the buyers and the sellers. So here you can compare um, the demand and the supply of the sale of homes and the purchase of homes. So we have the National Association of Realtors, a trade organizations for realty brokers, is a good resource for housing market data. So the associations tracks the volume of closed and pending sales of existing homes in major metropolitan areas. So the data and analysis are published monthly And the association's economists usually include the helpful insights into the current supply and demand conditions in the nation's housing markets. So you have to look for an associations wherein um, it is a group of realty brokers. Okay, so you can see the supply and the demand of the housing in the countries. So many local realtor associations and multiple listing services also publish local housing market data and analysis that can help you understand the market dynamic. Next is the median home prices, hint at the housing market directions. So the median home prices, also noted by the National Association of Realtors, can be a useful indicator of the direction of the real markets. But this data must be analyzed in a caution. So the price in the middle, or at least the price is sold of home, means that exactly half of the homes listed above this price and exactly half are below. So may mga references on how uh, the homes listed in above price and exactly a below price. So it will be attempting to track month or quarterly median prices trends. The only valid comparison is that we have the same year according to the NAR. So that's because the sales and prices are affected by seasonality. Of course, sa pagbebenta uh, ng real estate, may mga uh, times na medyo malakas yung marami yung benta. Okay, may times na mahina yung benta. So, the prices in December, when most housing markets are slow, aren't comparable to prices in July. So when markets are closing sales from the spring home in a buying season, so you are looking for a murang real estate na pwede mong mabili. Okay, so you are looking for a broker na wherein or a seller na makabenta sa iyo ng murang halaga ng real estates. If you are looking for a good and a convenient locations of a property. So most housing markets are segmented by price bands. So we have an entry-level condominium or a small house isn't comparable to a larger home or a mansion. So in some markets, high-priced homes are segmented into two markets. So we have millions of dollars and multi-million dollars. So these submarkets are important because median prices are skewed by changes in the mix of homes sold. So if an unusually large number of luxury homes sold in a specific area during a certain range, so the median price spiked even if overall level of prices was flat. So okay, so with this, with the segmentation of housing markets, so we can identify the entry levels of these different housing markets. So how much is the condominium? Okay. Next is the mansions. So you can see the difference the different prices between these segmented housing markets. So buying when prices are rising can be frustrating. So one challenge is that prices of recently sold comparable homes might not be a good indicator of the current home values due to the rapid pace of home price appreciation. So in a hot market, buyers will experience a lot of competitions. It will most likely need to make a bid above the asking price. So as a part of the buyer, so it is a challenging experience because you have much competitors. Okay? So marami kang competitors. So kailangan you have this motivation to yourself that this is a part of your work which is more challenging. So falling prices enhance buyer purchasing power. So you might be able to buy a larger or nicer home or one in a more desirable location for less than you would be previously paid. Okay? So because of the prices, market prices, okay, so there is a an effect doon sa uh, buyer purchasing power. Next is selling when prices are rising can be wonderful. You may be able to list for a higher or receive a higher offer than you expected. Okay. Selling when prices are falling can be challenging. You have to settle for less and price your home lower than the comparable sales data. So selling when prices are falling can be challenging. You have to settle for less and price your home lower than the comparable sales data to avoid what's often referred to as a chasing the market down with multiple price reduction as prices fall further. Okay? As a seller, you are selling your prices, you offer your real estate in a then high price. Okay, so there is a negotiations, diba? Kung pag nagbebenta ka ng isang uh, real estate, so there is a hindi mawawala talaga yung pag-negotiate ng uh, prices. Okay, so may mga negotiable amount pa yan para lang makuha mo yung ma-close deal mo yung buyer mo. So, pag nagbebenta talaga ng real estate, so napakahirap. So, let's take a look with the medium home price, the impact for the buyer and the impact for the seller. If the home price is increasing, so the impact for the buyer is challenging. Bids will most likely exceed asking price. Okay? So, for the seller, yung impact ng seller is that good, can expect offers above asking price. Okay. So, once the home price decrease, so the impact for the buyer is good, more buying power, while for the impact for the seller is that it's challenging. So, settle for a lower sale price. So, dito mo makikita yung pagkakaiba. Uh, uh, when the seller and the buyer, okay, so they have to look for the price which is hindi nila ma-determine whether it is increased or decreased. But there is a advantage and disadvantage between the buyer and the seller. So the NAR releases the median price data quarterly for detached houses and approximately 175 metropolitan areas. So we have the local realtor associations and the multiple listing services also release this type of data. Next, for the new constructions expand supply. So existing homes are an on source of supply of homes for sales. So homes also come on the market when they are offered by new home builders. So newly built homes typically cost more than a comparable resale home. That premium exists because new homes. Okay, so we have this comply with the current building codes for safety and structural soundness, require less maintenance in the near term, and also usually more energy efficient than older homes. So low mortgage rates for demand. So mortgage rates impact housing markets indirectly because of the interest rates are the key factor in the demand to purchase home. So, when the rates are rising, so a financing home purchase becomes more expensive, dampening the demand to buy. So kung maraming mga buyers or bibili ng mga units ng bahay, so there is a high rising of rates. So the opposite effect occurs when rates are dropping. So as a financing become cheaper, so more people decide to buy a home rather than rent. So many people believe that in a Federal Reserve sets a mortgage interest, it doesn't do so directly. However, there is a connections. So with this, merong mga certain real statement na nag-o-offer ng So the difference between the high and the dropping of interest rates is that most of the financing uh, business offers a home purchase. It is more expensive. So they have, so magkakaroon ng demand to buy. So there is a hike in uh, interest rate, while for the lower of the interest rate or the dropping of the interest rate, so people decide to buy a home rather than rent. So much better to have your own home than to rent. So as you can see in our countries, marami pa talagang nagre-rent ng mga bahay because they cannot afford to buy. Next, we have the strong economy, wage growth, more buyers. So broader economic factors like employment, job creation, household formation, and wage growth also affects the demand to buy homes. When new jobs are created and company offers employees a higher pay, so people feel economically more secure and better able to purchase a home. So a strong local economy can be a positive factor for a strong local housing market with a healthy demand and a rising price. Of course, when you are in the companies and your employers offer a higher pay rate, of course, as an employee, I have to secure a better future. So I have to purchase a home for my family. So okay, uh, this affect the demand to buy a home if our economy is strong. So on the other hand, when the economy is sluggish, so the real estate investigators says that job losses and declining wages tend to depress the demand to buy a home. So when tax incentives or lower mortgage interest can help to offset the effects of a weak economy. So with this, if our economy is uh, sluggish, so there is an effect to the in buying a real estate because with this, some of them wala ng trabaho or maybe katulad nito ng pandemic, so it affects the purchasing a real estate. So very weak yung economy natin as of now. So newspapers, government agencies, and local chambers of commerce can be a good resources for national and a local economic data. Next is navigating a buyer's market versus seller's market. So what's a buyer's market? A buyer's market refers to a market conditions where housing supply exceeds housing demands. Okay. So it is plainly there are more homes for sale than people looking to buy. So this imbalance results in a market that favors buyers wide. Okay. So an inventory increases, properties tend to stay on the market for a longer. So on inventory increases, property tend to stay on the market for longer. So this offers from sellers to be more flexible on sales price rather than finding themselves as a series of ending binding wars. So buyers are more likely to score a great deal on a home. So ito lang yung mas maganda when you are when you have your house, your lot. So kung may lupa ka, hindi siya nag-depreciate. So kung sa tagal ng panahon, so uh, yung price ng lot, it increase. So nag-a-appreciate siya. So how to survive a buyer's market as a seller? So from seller point of view, a buyer's market is not the ideal time to sell. So if getting as much value out of your home as possible is crucial to you. So may you want to consider delaying the sale of your home. So there are events like new employment opportunities or changing family circumstances could mean that timing or your move may not be always be under control. So sometimes, in case na kailangan mo talagang ibenta yung property mo, so kahit na you ibenta mo siya ng mura, okay, it's because na urgent ang need mo. Pero kung hindi naman, you have to consider also in delaying the sale of your home. So in any case, there's still some things you can do to help your property stand out for a crowd. So number one, boost that curve appeal and consider the high return of investment upgrades. So in this market, the most attractive homes go first and to higher bidders. So before putting your home on a market, make sure it's in peak condition. So by fixing any lingering maintenance issues or pumping up the curb appeal and maybe even investing in a few affordable upgrades like fresh paint or new countertops. Of course, you have to make sure that your homes will be more attractive to the buyer. So, kailangan mo siyang i-repaint. Okay. So, you have to undergo maintenance for your home before you put it into the market. Number two, invest in top-notch photography. So, listing photos offer potential buyers their first impression of the property. Make sure it's a good one by investing in a photography that presents your home in its most flattering light. So this will ensure that buyers are clamoring to come see your home rather than passing it over more attractive options. So yung makikita natin sa mga social media, yung mga ibibenta ng mga properties. So